Hey, welcome. So glad that you're here. We are doing our supple spine flow today. If our back isn't happy, nobody is happy in the whole body system. So let's make movement part of our medicine and how we can keep our curves where they need to be, especially in the lumbar back and the cervical back, which are the top and bottom of our spine, where the middle stays extended. So let's give it some closed eyes, feel, and welcome your breath. Allow it to roll in, up the front of the body, down the back of the body. And as you keep your eyes closed, if you were to lift up the left heel, pushing into the bowl mound, lifting up the right heel, dropping the left, and alternating sides. And then pick a side where you can lift off. Are we able to tantalize the senses and keeping stability in our body with the eyes closed? Notice if you're able to do that. Science says that we should be able to do that for about 10-15 seconds. Let's check out the other side, dropping that right heel, lifting up the left heel, pushing in the bowl mound, and then pick it up. Sense where that body awareness is. And if you're able to stay upright in your posture, upright in your positioning, and getting that little desire of quiver to be invited to the party, and then dropping that left bowl mound, use those long bones to spin down the heel. How did you do? So if we're able to have that center of gravity being able to save the day, our spine doesn't have to muscle it. So let's begin. I want you to kind of reach those arms up and hook those thumbs. Give it a good morning stretch where the hips are going in one direction and the chest is opening up. Bending at the elbows, goalpost those elbows. We're going to fold forward and hands plant to the thighs, thighs plant against the hands. And I want you to keep your knees bent, but just push energy into the inside of the heels, feel in the big toe, and try lengthening your spine in Utkatasana. Hook those thumbs, add that reach wherever you can become more body aware with feeling your center, and then take out the bend. Good morning stretch, good evening stretch, whatever time of the day it is. Adding that reach overhead, fold halfway, fold forward halfway. Utkatasana, lengthen that spine, roll those shoulders down the back of the body. Dorothy, click those heels in. Feel that energy. See if you can use that breath to get the lowest of belly muscles alive and well. We're going to pick up that left heel and we're going to step back, warrior one. Interlace those fingers, opening up the heart space here. And dome those arches of the feet. I'm gripping the ball mounds towards the heels, doming those arches. And devotional warrior, keeping the knees, right knee bent. And the back foot is still staying domed. Let's push those footprints away to coming up a little taller. Hook those thumbs to the front. Add that reach overhead. Good morning, good evening. And rebend those elbows, interlace the fingers, invite the shoulders, devotional warrior. And maybe do this with your eyes closed, pushing through the footprints, adding the length of your spine into warrior one. Hook those thumbs to the front, adding that reach. How you doing? And rebend those elbows. This time, as we lead with the heart space, we're going to bend that back knee. Both hands land, maybe to blocks, maybe to the floor, stepping that right foot back, dropping the knees, but not the toes into cow. And I just want you to kind of roll it to the left, roll it to the right. See the suppleness from side to side. I'm just going to turn to my side as I come into cow and sensing how I can isolate just the hips to move, keeping active energy into the big toes, all those toes, even that little baby pinky toe, and then see if you can actively isolate the movement of your middle of your body, and then sense that isolated movement just into that neck space, into the top of the cervical spine. I'm going to plant my hands down. I'm going to, big toes come together, knees grow wide, and child's pose, reaching, but being active with energizing my shoulders down, forearms land, heart leads the way as I come up into mini cobra, pulling all 10 fingers back, and then open up the heart space here. Bending at the right knee, looking left, and then just sensing the strength that I know you have it in the back body, in the front body, as you're motioning from side to side. And lifting up the hips first, like you have a magic string coming up from the sacrum, pushing down to lift up, toes touch down, hover the knees, keeping the knees bent, and then rolling the shoulders down. Let's lengthen the spine here. See if you can wrap those triceps as we spread those collarbones and gently rise on up, down dog. Left foot lifts, left foot steps forward, and we are bending at that back knee, doming the arches of the feet footprint, interlace the fingers, devotional warrior, opening up the heart space. As I'm lengthening my spine, my hips are actively energized. I'm like really feeling that outer hip rotators. See if you can open that up into a standing tall warrior one position. Hook those thumbs at that reach. Good morning, good evening. And then rebend those elbows, keeping the heart space open, devotion. Closing the eyes, sensing what those footprints are doing here. As you push those heels away, keep the domed arches of that support. Really work in that lumbar back curve, like you're scooping it, to open it, to stand tall, hook those thumbs, add that reach. Good morning, good evening, rebend. And we're just gonna step to the top of the mat. Crescent lunge, left arm reaches, but keep the imprint, maybe practice doming that arch of the foot from side to side. Lifting on up, right foot lifts, see if you can find that balance. Little shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop in that ankle is a good, happy feeling. If that is not available to you, at any time you can really get a big, giant love tap into the ball mound of the foot. We're stepping that right foot back into warrior one and close the eyes. See if you can heart lead this away as you add that reach, feeling length into the back of the thighs. And as we lift up, that back heel is really important. If you're finding that you're kind of wonky in there, bend more of that right knee or whatever knee is in the back at that reach, hooking, sensing, reaching, nice love, length into the front. Rebend those elbows. We're gonna move a little faster as our hands plant, stepping that left foot back. Feels a little sturdy in your plank maybe this time as you kind of create some support. Rebend the knees, big toes come together, knees grow wide, child's pose, maybe tense, and get active in those shoulder rolls. And we're gonna use the fingertips, all 10 fingers, to pull the chest through, baby cobra. Feeling That breath sensation as we bend the left, looking right, bending right, looking left, feeling that length. Kind of floating that chin over the shoulder, and we're hips lifting up, push down to lift up. Gonna back up those hands. Don't be ever afraid of realigning your bones, toes tuck under, finding cow. And maybe this time we're starting with the head, isolating body parts, keeps the layers of tissues juicy, isolating just the ribs, no bend in the elbows. It's easier to wrap those triceps so the pits are looking forward or away from you, and then isolate just the movement of the pelvis or the hips. Put more energy and imprint of the big toes to make it happen. Let's see if you're using your core. As we push down, we're in cow to lift up. Find your core with just the lift of the knees. And then see if you can ride it. Push down. Feel that energy of the tail lifting up first. Right foot lifts. I'm going to plant my hands on blocks as I really add the shoulders to be invited down. Right foot steps forward. Warrior 1 feet. Bend at that back knee and kind of slurp up the dome. Grow your spine first. Keep the bend of your knees and imprint those heels. I'm Dorothy clicking out so I have space. The hip rotators open, maybe adjusting. Sensing, loving how we get up to get down. Ground down to grow up. Hook those thumbs at that reach. And feel the good morning, good evening, whatever it is, goalpost. And this time, as we come forward into that devotional warrior, I want you to tap the toe back and then curtsy squat, where we're keeping the spine lifted. Feel those curves. We're going to tap the toe back, high crescent lunge. If you need to extend those arms up, give you some wings, go for it. And this time, as we curtsy squat with that left foot, I'm going to interlace, I'm going to nest, maybe pushing into the bull mounds to lift up the heels. And then take a bow, pushing into the bull mounds. A little bit of balance, maybe close the eyes, but I'm going to practice pushing down to give my spine that length, squeezing the inner thighs. Don't forget to breathe. Feeling lots of energy into those legs. I'm going to use my long bones of my right foot landing at my heel and then kicking my left foot out and just finding that balance. And then I'm going to come to a standing tall position, but keep the bull mound pushing down and then flexing at my left ankle, coming into figure 4. Adding that seat. Keep the knees bent, grow your spine, find that space in the lumbar back. You could always be holding on to a wall if that gives you that grounding to lift up. That glute should be firing. Woo! And we are moving into airplane. And I'm gonna, like an elevator, lower, maybe put some opposition with my left hand to the inside of my right knee. Glute is firing, and then I'm gonna settle that left foot down, both hands plant, and then step back into lizard. And wander to the right, wander to the left. And explore what your body needs. Maybe allowing the foot to step back so the knees are long. And where can we give suppleness to our spine, to the right, to the left. And we're going to have a seat. I'm going to slide that left knee in. And both sitting bones land. I can be on a half roller, but I really want to feel my sitting bones here. And take a pause, maybe adding rotation as you flex at the ankles. That also gives some feedback into our hips to grab on to save the day. Add that reach to the back. And just flow it. That left arm floats to the front, right arm floats to the back. And just sensing how the spine moves from right to left to right. It should feel good. Both hands land to the front. And we're stepping that left foot to the top of your mat. Dorothy, click those heels in opposition into the hands. Keep the knees bent and just get your spine to grow long. And closing the eyes, maybe sensing ear over shoulder, shoulder over hip, hip over knee. And then come, push that energy in to lift up, and they naturally relax as we stand. How did you do? Pedal out those footprints. Feet are parallel with each other. Right arm reaches. Switching sides. Picking up the right heel. And we're stepping back. Maybe interlacing the fingers. Maybe keeping airplane arms. And we're adding a little curtsy squat. Keeping the length. Don't forget to breathe. And even when I'm squeezing those inner thighs, my heel kind of corkscrews into the floor, right? And this time, we're going to pick up the pick up the heels, ball mounds press down, and then grow your spine, close the eyes, adjust. This one side needs a little bit adjusting, and that's okay. Maybe holding on to a wall, but chest stays open as I work in whole body from head to toe. Ear over shoulder, shoulder over hip, hip over knee. My left foot, I'm going to push with demand to use those long bones to the heel, and then step my right foot out. Keeping my hips more into anterior, glute is firing, and then coming maybe into standing star, coming into figure four, having a seat. I can always use my ball mound into keeping a little lower on the lower leg. Lot of demand for balance, and how we can use this girdle so the spine grows long. Don't forget to breathe. A little neuro quiver is a happy thing. Love and life. And we're going to move into airplane. I'm uncrossing my figure four. My hips are firing in the hole, and then maybe spinning my arm bones to find that airplane, maybe feedback in the knee. Lifting and lowering. Those arm bones, firing in the hole, hips are active. And we're stepping back, moving into lizard. I'm going to use my blocks, maybe start with bent knees first, kind of swirl it around, swivel around. Active energy into my hands, active energy into my heel. Sometimes I'll Dorothy click that heel inward to get the hip firing outward. Pushing down to lifting up. Feel that energetic feeling of the tail, that sacrum lifting up. And don't forget to breathe. Feel the core. Maybe rolling those long bones, but keep that cow back. We're having a seat. I'm going to use the right knee to come behind the left as I feel my sitting bones active. Crisscross applesauce those legs, or maybe just hold it, but feel the curve of the low back, length of the spine. And just finding your supple. How can you get that space in there with your breath, that amazing breath of yours, opening up the chest, gripping those fingers, adding that rotation in the ribs. What is it that makes you move? Where do you need that space to help you move? Rolling towards the front, moving into baby cobra. Both hands plant, knees are felt, heart leads the way. Heart is open, feel that extension. Lifting off into locust. Feel that strength in the back that gives the length to the spine. Spin those arm bones. Scoop those pinkies. And then use those elbows to feel the shoulders. Keeping on the back body. Scooping. Allow the pits to look up towards the ceiling. Maybe I'm just here, finding those quivers. Core energy, core happy. Maybe the pinkies come together, but not closing up shop in the chest. Wow. Working hard. Try that again, bending at the elbows. Feeling that length. Opening. Isolating body parts. If you're sensing the hip wanting to open, or the leg goes into where the toes tap out, roll those tops of the thighs back in. Big time work. Doesn't look like anything. Let's take a little party break. Forehead is on the forearms, and just windshield wiper those knees. Feeling the love from side to side. Rise up. Bringing those forearms down. Let's try the forearms down. And coming into Sphinx. Extension is everywhere. Feel the stretch sensation in the front body to help give length to the back body. Breathing up the front and down the back. Maybe breathing up from the tops, the insteps of the feet, to the knees, to the fronts of the thighs, to the hips, center, belly, sternum, neck, throat, chin, forehead, top of the skull, down the back. Allow that breath to roll over. Roll on down. And all the length of the spine, including the tailbone. Right side of the thigh, left side of the thigh. And gently tuck the toes under. Hips are lifting up. And I'm just going to reset, backing up my elbows and coming into child's pose. Maybe rolling that third eye on a block from left to right, right to left. Silent breathing, breath and sensation into the side body, into those ribs. Making it feel amazing. Rise up into that cow, gripping all 10 fingers, pulling back. And let's move into down dog. Keeping cow, tail lifts up, suppleness in the spine as you just wander from left to right, right to left, maybe using a little pivot action on the ball mounds of the feet to bring you from one side to the other. Widen the footprint and walk those hands back. We're going to slightly angle the knees and maybe coming into Malasana, where you're using the outside edge of the back of the arms to the inside of the knee, hands plant, and then use the knees to energetically reach, but don't take the bend out of the knees. See if you can stack your bones, grow length into your spine here, maybe a little shake. Maybe you're against a wall, but finding that breath. Hook those thumbs, arms lift overhead. Charlie Chaplin, the footprints to the feet to be parallel, and roll those arches from side to side, or actually front to back, maybe side to side. But how do those footprints feel? Find that balance, reassess. See if you, as you lift, if you're keeping that locked in support and length to your spine. Eyes closed, don't cheat. Switching sides, we're landing, we're loading. And even if you're not lifting up, you're pushing into the ball mound of that foot to do that lifting. It's okay to wander. Sometimes I'll separate my toes with the big toe down, and the little toes lifted. And settle it down and just sway to the right, sway to the left. I want to hydrate the tissue, or I want to show you how to hydrate the tissue so we can keep the juicy between those layers long after you have worked on your body. So we're going to use a round roller. Make it soft. If it's a harder roller, wrap it up in a little yoga mat maybe. So here we go. I'm going to use my Melt Performance roller. And I'm going to start in my hips, bringing my forearm down and adding compression and movement as I push my feet. Swirling around, maybe down clam and up clam. And as I press up, up and away, I'm switching to the opposite side, using my feet, moving that energy, adding movement and isolating body parts so we don't compensate in how we move when we're working our whole energy in finding motion. And if we're able to isolate, life is good. I'm going to just turn to my side. And as I come down, maybe sensing how my heels pull in. So my chest is open. I have more desire of my sitting bones anchored. And as I come back into boat, heels come together. And then see if you can give a little love tap to that bra line. And then rebend the knees, landing, and then lifting. Spin those arm bones. Let's try that again. We're wrapping those arm bones so the pits are looking up. just is really centered. That upper arm bone is really centered, and as we extend out, just give a little love tap, unless the roller has run away, and that's okay. A little quiver, little neuro quiver right in the center, keeps our spine supple too for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and gently lower. Where did you go? There you are. And I'm going to plant it underneath that bra line. I'm going to maybe start there, pressing the footprint away, finding the arches of your low back as well as your cervical spine or upper back, and just pedal it back. Make it feel good. And then magic is the hold. Push those heels going in one direction, and the reflex is down is the healthier way, but a lot of times we press the feet and we close up shop by rolling the tail under. So don't do that. Try to break it down. Even if you're finding that you push your feet and the tail goes under, try to maybe separate, landing your butt first and then pushing the heels. That's another way. And then just feeling that chest open. I'm going to bring my elbow points in, but keeping my shoulders manifested onto the roller itself. And just scrubbing my back, each vertebra at a time as I walk. But I'm keeping the curves even when I'm adding a little bit more hydration. Try that again. Maybe you're creating more space between the bones by just adding some hydration to the tissue, and that's a beautiful day. And then this time, we're taking one long rinsing pass. Drag that ass as you extend the knees. Find that strength as you land. Maybe come back into that boat. And don't forget to breathe. And then land those heels. I'm gonna shear, neck release, right behind the ear of the bone of the ear, and adding compression and movement. See where it takes you. So we need strength, we need space, and we need fluidity and lots of juice between all those layers of tissue. You can't go wrong with using that body sense and breath to guide you where you need to go. Coming back to the center, moving the roller just a little higher of where the skull and the spine kind of sit on top of each other, maybe holding the edges as the chin lifts and the chin lowers. Big breath, top and bottom, sides, back and front. Let it wash over you, rolling onto your side. Let's give a little love to inner thighs so we stay supple with this communication up to the pelvic floor. I'm going to slightly angle my roller as I add compression on the inside of the knee. And just wander, bend, extending that knee. Might be a little tender if you're not used to this type of work. The T is just a silvery piece of connective tissue itself, and it needs the juice in there too. Get juicy, stay juicy. Don't forget to breathe. going to plant one more area as I press in, maybe extending the knee. Sometimes I just do 2 areas, sometimes 8 areas, but whatever it is, never forgetting about my breath and feeling that generate the attention of those lower belly muscles that it needs. I'm going to position the roller right where it needs to be, and I'm rolling up the inside, coming up onto the forearms, gripping all 10 fingers. Just like what we were doing, but enhancing maybe a better feel of the length of the spine. I also feel a stretch sensation up the front, which is a good thing because we want to stay lifted and extended in that spine. But we need that fluid to drive up in the inside of the legs and into the torso and trunk of the body. So set up, parallel, angled, and then check out the hips. I like to not suck my tail under. I want to keep the same rules of the road, even when I'm melting. Bend and extend. And just doing things that are feel-good points. Bend and extend. You love life more, have more quality of living when we are moving and it feels good in our bodies, or we don't have to think about moving. And that's why we exercise and have a movement practice to slow down our emotions, to take away those compensations, take away the way our bodies and our tissues become resilient to those compensations. Taking it out. Let's add that rinse. One long pass up towards the inside edge of my knee. And then maybe hanging, holding, breathing. Come into your savasana. Notice how your body is rested on the floor, on your mat. Good times happening when we have space between all our bones, especially space in the vertebra. Thank you for taking good care